I'd like to talk a bit about false beliefs, especially why are there so many people in the world who believe so many things which are not true. A 5th century Greek philosopher wrote, there are 3 kinds of people. Those who can see when they're shown, and those who can't see. I agree with this idea on the condition that this is not fixed forever and ever. In other words, a person who cannot see can become a person who can see when shown, and a person who can see when shown can become a person who can see. So I want to talk about why some people cannot see, and then discuss some ways that people can rise out of that kind of blindness. First of all, we need to think about why so many people cannot see. One of the problems facing human beings, and one of the reasons why human beings are so easy to control, is that people hate to be wrong. Perhaps this is partly a result of years of learning in a competitive, age-homogeneous group, where being wrong would invite ridicule, what we call school. But people especially hate being wrong about things which are dear to them, or things which they have believed to be true for a long time. In other words, people most hate to be wrong about things which are related to their self-identity, especially things related to gender, sexuality, religion, politics, nationality, profession, morality, or family. Now don't get me wrong, these are things which are important. That's why it's very difficult for people to face the fact that they may be wrong about something related to one of these areas. And therefore, how they see themselves and their very identity may be based on something that is false. But it's also very important to remember that these beliefs about these things I just listed are things that are learned at a young age. Howard Gardner, who must be considered to be a mainstream educationist, claims that most prejudices are formed by the age of 7. And barring a major life event or a major change in your life, will never change during a person's entire life. Many, if not most or even all these beliefs and prejudices are created in schools. I'll give you a simple example. If you're English, as I am, then you will learn about World War II probably twice in primary school and twice in secondary school. You will learn that A, England won the war, B, that there were evil Germans fighting us, and C, that English people were brave and saved the world from a terrible evil. I think this is a good example if you consider the areas I mentioned above in the context of these beliefs an English person has about World War II. This includes nationality, we are proud to have won the war. Morality, we were the good guys. Politics, we live in a free and democratic society, not like those Germans. Family, everybody has family members who were affected or even died in the war. Gender, men were strong and brave and women stood up and were counted. They showed they could do the jobs as well as men. So this teaching about World War II that is given to children and then continually reinforced throughout an English person's lifetime in film and anniversaries, this teaching strikes deep at the heart of a person's identity. Nationality, politics, morality, family, gender. Now let's assume, just assuming without prejudice, that this view of World War II is skewed. Maybe there were evil people on both sides. Maybe Churchill wanted a war and provoked the Germans. Maybe Britain did some horrible things too. Maybe there were good men on the German side. In this case, it's going to be extremely hard for an English person to accept that he or she has been wrong his or her whole life. It would shake their self-identity to its foundations. You mean my grandfather died for nothing? Churchill was an evil man, not a national hero? That I live in a nation which is not free? I've been lied to my whole life? So it's not difficult to see how people can be controlled and manipulated. You brainwash humans at a very young age in a way which is fundamental to their self-identity. And then most people would prefer to be wrong than to completely change the way they look at themselves and the things they thought were important. Who, having spent his entire life thinking he lives in a free country, which is the defender of all that is good in the world, who wants to throw that away and start thinking he lives in a fascist state which has been lying to him? No one, that's who. So you can see how people can then refuse to believe some of the things which are going on right in front of their face. I don't have a simple solution to how you can change a world full of human beings who have been cynically brainwashed and manipulated by indoctrinated education, but I will say this. I'm in the same situation. As I get older and I study and research more and more, I realise how I have lived my life in a complete delusion. Every day I discover things which I've always thought were true. I find they're completely false. At first it is hard to face, but it gets easier and easier to the point where it becomes a positive pleasure. Because I know I am getting freer and freer with every realization. It requires a bit of courage and humility, but there are infinite rewards too. I don't know, if I haven't convinced you, think of yourself as a bird with little pebbles tied to your feet. Every time you uncover a way you've been fooled by school and religion and the media, that's one less pebble holding you down and stopping you from flying.